Good evening, everyone. I, Avanti Desai, welcome you all to today's webinar on understanding and coping with anxiety and depression. I thank each and every one of you for taking interest in today's topic and for showing up. Today, our society faces several issues, and instead of confronting them, we often try to cover them up. This is especially true for mental health. There is a big stigma around people going through mental health issues, which causes them shame, suffering, and isolation. The truth is that we cannot all be mentally strong all the time. Whether you're a doctor, teacher, lawyer, mother, father, dentist, counselor, or even a businessman, we all feel emotionally weak one time or the other. And when this happens, we must be able to talk openly so that we can find a solution to these problems. And talking about anxiety and depression today is our sincere effort in this direction. So if you suspect that either you or your loved one anxiety or depression, we sincerely hope that this session benefits you and provides you with a further plan of action. So keeping that in mind, let me take you on a journey of understanding and insight as we talk about today's topic. To enlighten us, we have with us Mr. Hitesh Patel, who is a consultant psychologist. I would like to proudly inform that our esteemed guest holds a number of degrees, including PhD, MPhil, MA in clinical psychology, postgraduate diploma in rehabilitation psychology, and diploma in community mental health for psychologists. He has been working in the field of behavior science for 11 strong years and holds experience in teaching, training, consulting, as well as research. We welcome you, sir, and we would love to hear a few words from you.
Thank you so much, Avanti, and thank you so much to all of participants. So, as Avanti mentioned about that, anxiety and depression becomes a more difficult situation nowadays. A lot of people are facing it, but people don't want to talk about this just because of they have that mental stigma that this is not a good. Otherwise, most of the people believes that mental health is almost people consider them as a mental and as a taboo. They see कि जहाँ पे people are not ready to accept it. कोई पागल हो ही नहीं सकता है. Otherwise, पागलपन is something different. So we are not ready to accept. So yeah, of course, we will going to talk about that today. Thank you so much to you, everyone.
So, sir, these days the word depression has become very common. Even children are saying, I'm feeling depressed. We hear it everywhere. I'm depressed. It was so depressing. Oh my God, the atmosphere is so depressing, etc., etc. So, what exactly is depression? Is it a feeling? Is it something in our minds? Is it something in our bodies? What is it?
It becomes, I think, fashion nowadays. I was having a smile when you said about that. Some people said also about that I'm feeling depressed. So yeah, it becomes a fashion nowadays sometimes. कहीं कहीं पे ये fashion भी बन चुका है because people don't understand basically what is depression. So there are some common mental health, mental illness word I think I can say: stress, anxiety, depression. So I don't know people know about in detail or not. So sometimes people says about yes, I feel anxious or पता नहीं मुझे depression जैसा feel हो रहा है. Oh, I'm stressed out. But exact word, otherwise exact meaning of depression is about a combination of your thoughts and feeling, emotion, which we consider as a mood, I think. So जैसे लोगों का बोलते हैं ना कि mood नहीं है. So mood is what? Basically a combination of your thoughts and emotion. Emotions भी कहीं ना कहीं negative है and the thoughts is also somewhere negative. So people feeling about like very sad about something, about everything most of the time, losing the interest. But the thing is कि physical illness कोई भी होता है, so that we can see from external side. But mental illness जो basically दिखता नहीं है. So it's difficult to identify sometimes, and even difficult to know about that there is something problematic. So I can say here depression is like mood disorder. Otherwise, we can consider that as a feeling, low feeling, or can say about sad feeling. So basically, problematic emotions, I can say about negative emotions.
That's very interesting, sir. And so, if I understand correctly, depression is like a very overwhelming feeling of sadness, where one finds it very difficult to feel anything positive. And so, naturally, you're not able to enjoy the things that you used to love. It's like your brain tells you that you're worthless. And so, you end up feeling very guilty about it. So, let's say that a person is suffering from depression, but how will he come to know? Because, like you said, when you have a physical illness, we feel pain, we get headaches, and even fever sometimes. And it is these signs which tell us that we are not well and that we have a disease. But depression is invisible, like you said. So, how do we know that we have it? Does our behavior change or does our mood change? What exactly happens to us?
So I can say here, this is very interesting to know or can say about to identify, because most of the people who comes to me, वो लोगों को ज्यादातर पता ही नहीं होता है कि they are suffering from depression, and almost they came to me most of the time at very severe condition, कि जहाँ पे उनके thoughts वगैरह बहुत ही higher level पे और suicidal thoughts and that all starts, तब वो लोग हमारे पास आते हैं. But how we can identify? Yeah, that is very much important. So there are a lot of signs from that we can identify. First, about if we talk about the adults, we can identify by self, and sometimes we need to help to people to identify their significant change in behavior or activities. So yeah, first of all, that loss of interest from every activities. Almost ऐसा भी बोल सकते हैं कि what you was liking more before, now you don't like. Even appetite also decrease, most of the time decrease, or I can say about change, because in some of the clients I found that कि उनका कभी खाना बढ़ भी जाता है, बट इवन आपका जो सबसे फेवरेट डिश था वो भी आपको खाना पसंद नहीं है, इवन यू डोंट वांट टू टॉक अबाउट दैट. Significant change in sleep, most of the time in early morning sleep almost go away, and 3-4 बजे अर्ली मॉर्निंग उठने के बाद में दे आर ट्राइंग टू स्लीप बट नॉट एबल टू स्लीप. साथ साथ में thoughts becomes a more negative. So at thought level they have the feeling of worthless almost, what कि मैं कुछ काम का नहीं हूँ, I'm not useful anyhow, so I'm not able to do anything, and I'm helpless, I'm hopeless. Now my life will be almost on the path of destructions. So anything cannot be positive now, and almost life is zero or can say word closed. So कुछ भी possible नहीं है. Decrease in activities as well as, so people have that significance decreases of movements. So पूरे दिन एक ही जगह पड़े रहना, बात नहीं करना. Even their day schedules is sometimes change. So 9 बजे 8 बजे सुबह उठते थे वो लोग, 12 बजे तक उठना नहीं है, नहाना नहीं है, ब्रश नहीं करना है, कुछ काम नहीं करना है, no one, don't want to talk to anyone. Even in severe condition, I can say about that thoughts of suicide or can say about death. So don't want to leave now. अब जीना ही नहीं है, because there is nothing meaningful. So they are not able to identify anything meaningful in their life. Almost loss of energy as well as, and other than that, social media वगैरह पे जो लोग एक्टिव होते हैं वो लोग inactive हो जाते हैं. So not talking to anyone. So overall जो उनका activation level होता है that decrease a lot, and more or less when they talk to anyone, so their almost content of talking is more negative. So it's all useless, it's all मतलब बेकार and all. So these are the significant changes we can identify into behavior, into feeling, and into thoughts.
Right. So, from what you shared, it sounds like a person who's suffering through depression feels scared and tired at the same time. It's like, you're constantly fighting with yourself in the sense that you fear failure but you don't even have any motivation to be productive. You want to be friends, you want to socialize, but you don't want to put yourself out there. You don't want to make that effort to meet new people. The same way, it's like you want to be left alone all the time, but not lonely. Like
Yes.
at one point you care about everything, and then comes a point when you care about nothing. So it's a very contradictory kind of a disease.
Yeah, more or less we can say about withdrawal side from the world, withdrawal side from everything.
Right. So I can't help but wonder, how common is depression and who is more likely to suffer from it? Like, can it happen to children or educated people? What about doctors and psychologists? They are trained in the field.
Uh, it's almost again a taboo when people believe that ki trained people or considered educated people do not have that mental health issues or they are more strong mentally. But yeah, it's more common, I can say about. And if we'll start from mental health professional, तो उनको भी हो सकता है because it's very common one. I think मैं ऐसा बोलना चाहूँगा when we talk about that fever, cough and cold. So साल में जैसे अपने को एक दो बार काफी लोग बीमार हो ही जाते हैं, उसी तरह से depression is also more common. Survey says that 97% people feels depression in their lifespan anytime. So आप सोच ही सकते हो कि 100 में से 97 लोग 97 people can feel depression during any time of life. More common if I talk, so 1 in a 6 people, so 6 में से एक लोगों को depression on present situation इंडिया में जो चल रहा है, which is a ratio of I think more than 16%, but people sometimes not able to identify. It goes sometimes long. I have seen that type of client where they have create their lifestyles or consider pattern of life like that. So उनको पता ही नहीं चलता है कि there is something wrong or I need to do something with this. They know about it कि मजा नहीं आ रहा है. That's it. Even this can happen to the children and teenagers as well as there is a ratio of 3%. So 3% लोगों में बच्चे में 3 years to the 17 years. So it is, I think, a lesser side, or considered number of cases are less, but yeah, that is possible to them as well as. More or less, we says it's a sometimes it's in episodes and sometimes it's a random event to the life. So काफी कुछ लोग ऐसे भी होते हैं, they have the personal like depressive personalities कि जो बार बार depressions में आते जाते हैं. They have almost a gap of 2 year, 1 year, 3 years, and वो हर दफा वो depressions को feel करते रहते हैं. So I can say about it can occur to any stage of life, and yeah, it can happen to anyone.
Right, and I completely agree with what you said about depression being a sticky disease. क्योंकि मैं कुछ लोगों को जानती हूँ जिनको डिप्रेशन 2 बार हो चुका है, 3 बार हो चुका है. So it's like if you don't maintain a healthy mental lifestyle, then the disease is going to keep coming back. So you need to be really careful. And all the statistics that you shared, they are really insightful. And I feel that, it's really eye-opening for at least me. And in fact, a study that I recently read said that ever since the pandemic and the lockdowns, 43% of Indians are suffering from depression. So that's again like 43 people out of 100. And I think that's really concerning. And it also brings me to my next question, which is, if it can happen to anyone, then what is it that causes it? Because how is it that just the normal feeling of sadness turns into depression, a mental disorder?
So even many people do not have that idea. So overall mental illnesses जितनी भी हो सकती है. So there are a lot number of mental illnesses. I think I would like to share over here that physical illness को diagnose करने के लिए जैसे WHO ने ICD International Classification of Disease करके एक manual है, which वो mostly used by the doctors. What are the common symptoms के जिसके basis पे the person has or have that malaria या can say chikungunya or something else. So उसी तरह से there is a whole manual for mental illness as well as. So there is again ICD by WHO, and There is a DSM by American Psychological Association. So common cause factors for depression or any mental illness, if I talk about, so there could be three different cause factors or can say about sources. So the first one is about genetical disorders. Yeah, genetical. So we call that as a hereditary chromosomes which affects to us. So that in depressions we can consider it is very lesser, बहुत ही कम है. The second one is chemical changes. So हमारे दिमाग के अंदर में, brain के अंदर में there are certain chemicals. I think you all must have heard the name like dopamine, serotonin, and dopamine and all. So yes, the significant chemical change also leads to the depression. There are comparatively number of cases are more in compared to the chromosomal conditions, and the big number we can see as a cause factor in a client with depression. That is purely environmental or can say about social cycle factors. So social psycho factors almost about major life event. किसी की डेथ हो गई, नियर बाई पर्सन जो बहुत ही कनेक्टेड थे. A lot of student comes to me जिनके दादा दादी या नाना नानी से बहुत कनेक्टेड होते हैं, उनकी डेथ के बाद they feel depressions. Significant economical loss, stressful other events of life like divorce or something else. Yeah, not getting the job or can say about जिनका वीजा होने वाला था नहीं हुआ. In relationship there are also problems. So teenagers में काफी कुछ कि that girl said me a no for a relation, break up कर लिया and all that. So these are the psychological and social factors which also affects. And I can see that number of cases are more in compared to this environmental factors. So in compared to the chromosomes and chemical changes.
I do agree that the situation plays a very important role. कभी हमारी लाइफ में कोई भी अगर ट्रॉमा हो जाता है तो इट कैन अफेक्ट नेगेटिवली ऑन एनी पर्सन्स लाइफ. पर कई बार ऐसा भी होता है कि अगर दो लोगों का ब्रेकअप हो जाता है तो एक आसानी से वो सिचुएशन से बाहर निकल पाता है. ही इज हैप्पीली एबल टू मूव ऑन, बट द सेकंड पर्सन एंड्स अप विद डिप्रेशन. सो व्हाई इज देयर दैट चेंज? एक इंसान को होता है, दूसरे को नहीं होता, ऐसा क्यों होता है?
There are a lot of other factors also can affect to our overall behavior. So in general, if we talk besides the depression, there are certain personality traits we all have. So there are some people who are more extrovert. There are some people introvert. So there are some person who are more logical. They think by their brain, by using their brain. And there are some people who they always habits of thinking by their using their hearts. So they are feeler basically. So ऐसे काफी कुछ personality traits होते हैं कि extrovert logical लोग जो होते हैं, they can make easily think very positive or logical. Yeah, fine. If this was not working out, so we can settle down somewhere else, or we can come out with this, and we have a lot of things to do. And there are some people introvert, they are not able to share with other. They believes that कि यही इंसान था मेरी लाइफ में, या यही एक इवेंट थी जो मेरे लिए बहुत important थी. Now I am helpless, or this world is not for me. That was only the chance or opportunity for me. So वो लोग वहाँ basically रुक जाते हैं because they think very emotionally and they are not able to talk with others. They are not able to share with others, or even not ready to talk with them. So there are certain personality traits also affects.
Okay, so it's basically a combination of your biological factors, the situational events, and the personality traits. So it's like a very complicated cycle that leads to depression ultimately. So I think all of us must take care not to fall into these traps, and I think all of us should be on our guards. And at this point, I would really like to thank you, sir, for providing such insightful responses. But I would like to shift our topic on anxiety just for a bit, because I have heard that anxiety is also related to depression. But I think most of us, we fail to understand what exactly it is. Is it overthinking? Is it negative thinking, worrying, or what? How do we know that we're feeling anxious?
Avanti, this is like wonderful question, because what I said in the starting and even you shared. So first, it's a more or less a taboo type of conditions when we talk about the mental health or mental illness. इवन पीपल डू नॉट नो कि पहले तो लोग ठीक है कि व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट द हेल्थ, सो फर्स्ट अबाउट द ओनली फिजिकल हेल्थ. नाउ पीपल स्टार्टेड टॉकिंग अबाउट और कैन से अबाउट व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट द हेल्थ, हाँ, दो टाइप की हेल्थ होती है, फिजिकल हेल्थ एंड मेंटल हेल्थ. बट आई थिंक what WHO has introduced that almost 7 different types of health: economical, occupational, social health, ये सब कुछ. सो एक तो मेंटल हेल्थ के बारे में लोगों को बात नहीं करना है, मतलब बात नहीं करते हैं या हेजिटेट फील करते हैं. सो उसी के रेफरेंस में दे डू नॉट नो द डिटेल्ड टर्म और कैन से अबाउट डिफरेंट इलनेसेस. सो व्हेन आई हैविंग द लाइक कैन से अबाउट a situation where I have the temperature, I'm feeling like cold up from outside, and ये सब कुछ तो हम उसके symptoms पे से पहचान सकते हैं. So it's very difficult to identify this all common terms because एक तो mixture of feeling and दूसरा कि उस पे लोग बात नहीं करते. So there is all different: phobia, fear, anxiety, overthinking, negative thinking, frustration. This is all different. So overthinking is almost the person has that habit of thinking overly about any content. जो पॉसिबल नहीं भी है, जो आज तक हुआ ही नहीं है और जो पता नहीं होने भी वाला है कि नहीं. But the person every time thinks about, if this happens, I will do this. If teacher says like me, I will do this, I will answer this. If this not work out, I will say this. और वो बहुत ही कुछ चलता ही रहता है, चलता ही रहता है. It's total a different condition. It can be in depression, but it's not sure कि वो होता ही है, कभी कभी नहीं भी होता है. Negative thinking is almost all the thoughts are more scary, fearful, and that everything is happening with them, that all negative. That almost a condition is fail हो रहे हैं, कहीं success नहीं मिल रही है, that relationship उनके break हो रहे हैं, that all type of thinking only. सो उनको वही दिखता है कि या पीपल इज इंटरेक्टिंग विथ यू, वाई पता है क्यों कर रहे हैं कि दे आर लाइक मोर पर्पसफुल विथ यू ओनली. सो ज्यादातर उनको कुछ ऐसी चीजें ही दिखती है कि दैट इज ऑल पीपल आर मतलब फुली एंड ऑल, तो नेगेटिव नेगेटिव नेगेटिव, दैट इज ऑल्सो डिफरेंट कंडीशन. So fear is something, a condition where the real sense or real situations or stimulation is not there, but still person had that fearful thoughts about that. Basically darkness, अंधेरे में काफी कुछ लोग फार्म में काम करते हैं, नाइट शिफ्ट्स में काम करते हैं, व्हाट इज दैट, कुछ भी नहीं है. बट या पीपल हैव द फियर ऑफ डार्कनेस, सो अंधेरे में नहीं जा सकते हैं. सो भूत का डर है, विच इज लाइक कैन अबाउट अनरियलिस्टिक समटाइम्स. Fear is total different condition. Then frustration, when there is something not happening as per your choice or as per your thinking, you feel frustrated, that is also different. So phobia is about some can say about you have that scared feeling with specific situation or condition. Most probably like height का phobia लोगों को होता है, claustrophobia, close area phobia होता है, agoraphobia, public में जाने का phobia होता है. सो हीमोफोबिया, काफी कुछ 11th-12th के स्टूडेंट्स जो फर्स्ट टाइम बायोलॉजी लैब में जाते हैं वहां फेंट होते हुए गिर जाते हैं बिकॉज दे हैव द फियर ऑफ ब्लड. सो वो जैसे ही बायोलॉजी के लैब में कुछ भी देखते हैं तो गिर जाते हैं, तो दैट इज हीमोफोबिया. सो बट वो स्पेसिफिक इवेंट के साथ में दे आर अनकंफर्टेबल, अदर देन दैट दे फील फाइन एंड गुड विथ एवरीथिंग. सो on the same way, anxiety is a more or less feeling about worried or scared much or can say what more than the needed. So exam के पहले थोड़ी थोड़ी चिंता होना, मतलब anxiety होना, that is common or can say what fair enough to everyone. But this is something कि जहाँ पे इतना ज्यादा हो रहा है कि you not cannot sleep, you are almost like walking from here to there, तो आपका मतलब activities बढ़ जाता है, that you have breathlessness, बहुत ही fear मतलब एकदम generate हो जाता है, what happened tomorrow, what happened tomorrow. इधर ऑलमोस्ट आपका प्रिपरेशन बहुत अच्छे से होने के बाद में भी. सो एग्जाम इज क्रिएटिंग दैट मच स्कैर्ड सिचुएशन फॉर यू, और अदरवाइज वी कैन से बट यू आर वरीड अ लॉट अबाउट एग्जाम. सो ऐसा नहीं है कि खाली मेरी एग्जाम आई हुई, बट एवरीवन हैज दैट. सो दिस इज ऑलमोस्ट अ फीलिंग कंडीशंस ऑफ वरिंग अबाउट समथिंग और स्कैर्ड.
Right. So anxiety is more like, repeatedly experiencing failure in advance. It's like you start expecting all kinds of negative outcomes. And at the same time, you also have these physical symptoms like, your heart is racing, your hands get sweaty, and you're not sure, you have this tremble in your voice, etc. So I think that's in addition to the worry component in anxiety. So just wondering, all these symptoms of anxiety, whatever happens that you just explained, do they occur in depression also?
See, there's a different, if we combine that concept of what you shared and what I shared, so it's a different symptoms of depression and different symptoms of anxiety. But sometimes, yes, anxiety के काफी कुछ ऐसे common symptoms that can happen to depression. Even I can say like that कि आपको सर्दी के साथ में मतलब फीवर होता ही है, तो कभी कभी दैट काफी कुछ चीजें फिजिकल डिजीज में भी कैन बी टुगेदर. एक्सीडेंट हुआ है, आपके पैर में फ्रैक्चर हुआ है, तब आपको फीवर आ सकता है. ऑन द सेम वे sometimes people feel depression with anxiety, anxiety with depression. That is also possible. But yeah, more or less hopeless, helpless, not talking to anyone, that is a common symptoms in depression. And more or less having more fear, breathlessness, heart rate बहुत हाई हो जाते हैं. There is a like sweating, कभी कभी nausea तक feel कर लेते हैं, sense of panic sometimes. These are the more common symptoms about anxiety.
Okay, so thank you for explaining that. And one question that comes to my mind is that anxiety can sometimes be good. What you just mentioned about the exam. Like I had a similar experience when I was younger. I used to get very anxious before my exams. And to prevent feeling that way, I made sure that I prepared well, that I worked really hard. So my anxiety used to motivate me. So how do we know when our anxiety is becoming unhealthy and how can we prevent that?
See, if we'll try to understand Avanti more or less, I think we get to know. Otherwise, we can understand the anxiety is more or less a condition where we feel insecure. That will going to happen with us or not. I will going to pass the exam or not. I will going to score in first top five or not. So this is a kind of condition that goes on every time, which is basically a sense of insecurity. So that all we have that sense of security because कल जाके हमारा मतलब contract renew होगा कि नहीं job में, are we going to pass this year and go to the next standard or consider next year of the study or not. All we have. But some extreme तक जो रहता है मतलब limit insecurities या consider limit में जब feeling रहती है तब कोई problem नहीं है. So it comes randomly and especially when there is a time or there is a conditions where we feel more competition type of conditions या consider वही. But other than that, most probably ज़्यादातर यही होता है कि जहाँ पे we are feeling more than that where actually needed. So जितना जरूरी होता है उससे भी कहीं गुना ज्यादा. कल एग्जाम है, आपने पढ़ लिया है, you're sure enough, आपने एक डेमो एग्जाम्स भी दिया हुआ है, so आपका मॉक टेस्ट जैसा भी कुछ हो चुका है. But still if you are feeling that कल कुछ हो ही नहीं पाएगा, कल मुझे वहां पे जाने के बाद में याद ही नहीं आएगा. So when it creates on the some of the more extent level, so that becomes a problematic. So I can say about कि when the common anxiety or general anxiety converts into the specific anxiety or can say about higher level of symptoms, physical symptoms, कि जहाँ पे that affects to your body, that affects to your sleep, that affects to your eating even. So कभी कभी anxiety में लोग ज्यादा खाते या नहीं खाते. Even all student और can say about interview में हम सारे लोग adults भी जितने उन सब लोगों ने ऐसा feel किया होगा कि अगर आज मेरा interview है, I am not able to eat since morning. बट 3 बजे वो इंटरव्यू खत्म होने के बाद में गोज गुड, अदरवाइज एग्जाम अच्छी जाने के बाद में वी कैन सी अबाउट कि स्कूल के बाहर अगर पानी पूरी की लारी खड़ी है तो वहां पे भीड़ लग जाएगी, अदरवाइज people start eating after that exactly. So that should not affect. Even I can relate one more thing over here, that stress is also a two different type of stress. So we say is कि हाँ stress तो stress ही होता है, but there is a one stress we take it positively which we consider as a eustress, and the second one is de-stress. So we always suggest that eustress should be there. So आप आपके खुद के घर बनाने के लिए अगर लोन ले रहे हो, that can be considered as a eustress. We all should have that because that creates a motivation. So anxiety utne level tak hai, so that's fine, that creates a motivation. But if goes beyond that, that affects to your health, physical health or mental health or your sleep, even the daily schedules, that is very dangerous.
Well, that was very well explained, sir. So when we have understood that something is not normal and that you might be going through something, what are some steps that you can take? Like, for example, if our stomach is upset, we immediately go for a physical health checkup. We go visit a doctor. So is there something like a mental health checkup, and who is the right person to do that?
It's really important for all of us. बहुत ही जरूरी है. So when I hear, I can relate that one experience. A lot of my relatives that habits to say, and specifically जो लोग का educations कम है, so they say is about they call me every time mental doctor, mental doctor. So there is a question like, I'm a mental or a mental health doctor. So I'm a mental health doctor or a mental doctor. So doctor है but पागल doctor है. So yeah, जैसे फिजिकल चेकअप के लिए एक सर्टेन एज के बाद में तो लोग एक साइकिल एंड्स अबाउट इन वन ऑफ द शेड्यूल्स के लाइक हर 3 महीने पे चेकअप करना है. डायबिटीज है तो हर महीने पे वी कैन चेक द शुगर एंड एवरीथिंग. सो उसी तरह से आई थिंक व्हेन वी फील देयर इज समथिंग नॉट राइट, देयर इज समथिंग नॉट नॉर्मल, देयर इज समथिंग डिफरेंट, आई एम नॉट फीलिंग गुड, because there is always, even sometimes we also take a time to diagnose what exactly happening with the client. So it is not easy to identify, but yeah, that is sure कि कुछ अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है. Yeah, there's something like सुबह उठ के मूड बहुत खराब रहता है. there's something कि यार नींद बहुत डिस्टर्ब चल रही है. Oh, there's something like heartbeat बहुत ही high रहता है. I'm not feeling something good. So of course you can visit to psychologist or psychiatrist. Psychiatrists are the medical professional, MD doctors, and psychologists are your therapist. So they have here in Gujarat, they have the degree from humanities, and they talk to you. They do counseling and psychotherapy, and वो लोग आपका एक जनरल मेंटल हेल्थ चेकअप्स करते हैं. They what are the risk factors, what are the symptoms you have, and then they diagnose, and then they do therapies, or they can refer to psychiatrist for medicine, or a psychiatrist refers to psychologist for therapy and counseling.
Right. So therapy and counseling are the same terms, basically. They are just used interchangeably.
Yes. So basically, if we'll go in detail, I think we can say about more or less talking to your therapist in general terms. There's more or less a counseling, but there are certain activities or certain forms, paper forms, or yeah, certain behavior task that comes under the psychotherapy.
These days, whenever we ask people to go visit a therapist, they simply tell us, but I have my parents with me, I have my friends, I can simply go and speak to them. Why should I pay so much money to a therapist? What is he or she offering that my friends can't offer? So what would you like to tell those people?
Avanti, I think you know because you are from the mental health background, but for all the people I can say about, there's always a difference when you talk to or consult, when you are interacting or sharing your problems with specialists or consult experts. We do not only listen to clients. Of course, we listen to clients, but it's not about only listening. We're analyzing their behaviors, their problems. So I think वो general population के लिए करना बहुत difficult हो जाता है. I think you know very well dream analysis and all. So a lot of people have heard about this. आपको आते हुए हर एक सपने को भी हम analyze करते हैं, what it wants to indicate. So the difference you are sharing with other people, they might judge to you. They just listen you. They don't respond. Sometimes they overly empathize you, which is I think not needed sometimes. कभी कभी तो हाँ हाँ हो जाएगा, ठीक हो जाएगा, don't worry, I'm with you, I'm with you. But that might leading that negative situation more and more. कभी कभी तो उसमें ही ज्यादा problems होते रहते हैं. So I think talking to some expert can help you to analyze your behaviors and your problems. that how mostly useful. And the second, where exactly you have a problem in your thoughts, in your emotion, or in your behavior. So they can help you as per that कि आपके thoughts को change करने के लिए which therapy or which some of the activities can help you. How you can change your emotion, because a lot of people feels that negative emotions for a long time. So what you should do or what you can do to change your emotion. But first of all, it's very much important that your thoughts is leading to your emotion is more negative. So in this all technical matters that experts can help you.
Right, very truly said, sir. And sometimes in our minds, we know that we must visit a psychologist for our emotional difficulties, but we hesitate. We feel that others will judge us and, they will make fun of us. They will consider us mad. They will call us these names, pagal, like crazy, and whatever. So we silently end up suffering, rather than actually going for treatment. So what tip would you like to give them? Because if we see our loved one suffering, but he or she is not ready to receive help, then what can we do?
Okay. So I can openly say is about that meeting your therapist or psychologist is meeting to your friend. Yeah, it's not technically that doctor type of feeling that they will ask you more formally about क्या हो रहा है आपके साथ and all. So they are just wants to talk to you. Otherwise, you can talk to them easily. Even openly, I can share that, or I can say that I have also my therapist, because every one of us need therapist right now as per what the age is going on, what the situation is going on. So if you are feeling something wrong, if you are feeling some difficulties emotionally, thinking wise, thoughts wise, कोई problems चल रहे हैं, so ये सारी चीजों को where we can go and where we can talk to. So easily meeting them is not a taboo. Even meeting them make you feel more comfortable, I think, if you can try. Because I can suggest, I can of course can suggest you like that कि आप एक बार भी किसी को मिलके देखो therapist or psychologist को, you feel more better than after that. Because they try to make you more comfortable. They help you to share more in detail about your thoughts, your emotions. They try to help you to understand your own behaviors. So it's not a taboo kind of conditions. So जितने भी लोग ऐसा सोच रहे हैं कि like what people think about me and what might people think about me, that I'm mad or I'm like what people will judge about me. So I can say about एक बहुत ही बढ़िया सी चीज बार बार लोगों ने आपने सुनी होगी, that सबसे बड़ा लोग क्या कहेंगे लोग, राइट. सो ये एक बड़ा ही रोग है कि जहाँ what people will say about that. But yeah, fine. Nowadays, meeting a psychologist or therapist is very common, and of course, you can meet. So, अगर आप मिलेंगे तो आपके काफी कुछ problems, मतलब every problems can be sorted out. They can help you more in detail and technically. So yeah, that's how we should do, and we can meet to that. Other than that, I can mention over here that most of the time people have that fear. Otherwise, they go to the therapist, but they do not share in detail or can say about some of the secrets. So I also want to mention over here कि देखो जब हम अब एक डॉक्टर्स को मिल रहे हैं, जब हम कोई एडवोकेट्स को मिल रहे हैं, so we don't hide any type of our conditions or problems, where we can get exit help from them. So उनसे या तो क्या उनसे about उनके थ्रू हमको एक exit help मिल सकती है. So where we'll get the proper help. They also can understand us betterly. But yeah, sure, that is for sure. We should not worry about society. And nowadays, people becomes more educated. They understand more easily about this. कि जहाँ पे लोगों को मिलना, मतलब therapist को मिलना या therapist के साथ बात करना आपके problems के बारे में. So even I'm openly says again that I have also my therapist, because everyone could have issues. So अगर मैं भी एक human as a human being हूँ और मुझे भी कुछ problems है मेरी life के भी, if I'm facing some issue, so to whom I should talk? Of course to my therapist. So yeah, it becomes nowadays कि जैसे एक friend होता है हमारा, बहुत ही एक best friend, उसी तरह से हर एक family doctors होते हैं हमारे, उसी तरह से nowadays of course we should have our own one therapist कि जिसके पास जाके हम खुल के सारी बात कर पाए, हमारे सारे problems को share कर पाए, हमारी सारी difficulties को बता पाए अच्छे से. Yes, even would like to add one more point over here that sometimes people's are having that questions that should I meet to the psychologist or psychiatrist? So as I mentioned that psychiatrist is more or less that medical doctors, MD, they prescribe the medicines. So of course you can go to them. उनके पास जा सकते हो when you need that you have that severity of your conditions कि जहाँ पे नींद continuously नहीं आ रही है, बहुत ही anxious feel कर रहे हो, that heartbeats are very high. So they can prescribe you some help you by medicines, a medical approach. So drug approach basically. So ऐसी मेडिसिन के थ्रू काफी कुछ केमिकल बैलेंसेस आपके होते जाते हैं जिसकी वजह से आप बहुत अच्छे से सेटल हो पाते हो. अदर देन दैट वी ऑलमोस्ट फील दैट कि ये कोई भी एंजाइटी या कोई भी डिप्रेशन के पीछे काफी कुछ आपके बिलीफ सिस्टम, आपके थॉट्स, आपके ऐसे कोई कंसेप्ट टुवर्ड्स द ह्यूमन लाइफ, टुवर्ड्स पीपल इज कनेक्टेड. So in that condition, to remove or to replace that thoughts, that belief system, that environmental factors what affects to you, that traumatic situations किस तरह से आप निकाल सकते हो या किस तरह से सेटल कर सकते हो, उसके लिए आपको ज्यादातर साइकोलॉजिस्ट हेल्प कर सकते हैं. If this condition is not that much severe, so you can of course meet to the psychologist that they can help you on the different way. So that also possible. So meeting a psychologist for a counseling psychotherapy and meeting a psychiatrist for a drug approach. So medical, can support medicine approach. Yeah.
Can you see and hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. So I'm sorry I missed the last bit, but just wanted to ask you, does treatment always ensure recovery? Like, are depression and anxiety curable, and how long do they take?
I can say that it's of course curable. So 110% I can say about yes, it's curable disease. So it's basically a disorder. Anxiety is considering as a disorder and mood disorder का एक part होता है. So when we define the disorder, so it is disorganization that we can organize, of course. That is difficult to say that कि कितना time लगेगा. So I can define or I can say that based on the severity and depends on the personalities of the person. And of course, environmental factors and biological factors. So all of the things is connected with that. So minimum time of like less than 1 month and maximum time of 12 months as well as sometimes. So yeah, the person can be 110% come out and leave that exactly normal life what he or she was living before.
Right. So I think by now all of us understand that we can't be mentally strong all the time, and that depression and anxiety are things that can happen to any of us at any point. So we need to be prepared for that. Just like uh, eating an apple keeps the dog to keep the
see tips I can suggest about that. First of all, अभी एक सबसे बड़ी conditions या can say problems जो हो रहे हैं, that is about the social communication. I can even mention here that post-COVID depressions and काफी कुछ anxiety issues बहुत बड़े because people are not able to come out from their homes. घर के बाहर नहीं आ पा रहे, not able to talk. So that is one. So as a tips I can suggest here that people should talk to other people. So basically a socializing with the other people or sharing, that is one. Second, happiness activity. We can consider that as a me time as well as. So everyone should have done every day that me activity. Sometimes I when I'm in my car and listening to music, तो उसके साथ में गाना गाना, that makes me happy. So everyone should identify that what makes them happy. So every day will do. So anxiety and ये मतलब depression say that can help you. When we do exercise, that can help us to release some specific type of chemicals in our body. So basically endorphin and a lot of other chemicals. So that also help us to be motivated every time and feel happy. Enough sleep is very needed nowadays because work schedules and competition इतना बड़ा हुआ है कि लोग रात को 2-2 बजे सोते हैं and they're not able to extend their sleep in the morning as well, as because या तो काम पे जाना होता है या तो स्कूल होती है या तो पढ़ने के लिए कॉलेज जाना होता है ऑनलाइन क्लास. So when we are not getting the enough sleep, because brain has only two food specific, I can say what specific food, that is sleep and oxygen. Even when we are inside of room, so it is always needed that कि आप थोड़ी देर के लिए बाहर चले जाओ and oxygen आपको मिल जाए, because when we are inside of the room, so AC चलता रहता है and that's the same air as you are taking that. So that is also needed about healthy food and eating healthy patterns. So food तो healthy चाहिए ही चाहिए, because fast food and every time if we'll eat every time, so that affects, वो तो सबको पता है. But even pattern of eating pattern should be healthy even. So आज 11 बजे खा लिया, आज 2 बजे, कल 2 बजे खाया, परसों 3 बजे तक खाया, आज तो टिफिन पैक वापस गया घर पे. So that affects a lot to us, बहुत ही कुछ. So yeah, a lot of things that of course healthy environment needed about. So family time should be there. Change in environment or change in activity is also needed. If we're repetitively living that same life for a long time, so that also affects. कभी walk के लिए बाहर चले गए, कभी weekend के लिए picnic के लिए चले गए. I think if it is not possible for that, go too far away, go at least nearby the fun parks और ऐसा कुछ भी, कहीं पे लोगों के घर पे भी बैठने के लिए चले गए, कुछ बात हो गई, कहीं पे बाहर जाके गए, मॉल पे जाके. And improve in self-esteem also help you to keep far from the depression. So self-esteem is basically a feeling of self-respect.
Well, these are lovely tips, and I'm sure that most of us will apply at least a few in our daily lifestyles. So here's hoping to that. And this was really helpful, I must say. One thing that I would like to share with everyone is that taking care of yourself is about taking responsibility for your own well-being. If you take control of your mental health and choose to get proper treatment when required, it is likely that your condition will improve over a period of time. Otherwise, it's only going to keep on getting worse. So always remember that you are the manager of your mind. So if your system runs into a problem, it is your responsibility to fix it and nobody else's. And choose people who will support you on your journey of mental health and not judge you for it, because those people are your true cheerleaders, right? So with that thought, I would like to conclude today's webinar. Thank you, Mr. Hitesh, for joining us today. Your responses have been truly insightful for all of us, and we hope to see you again with another fruitful webinar. Would love to hear a few words from you to conclude the webinar.
Yeah, thank you so much, Avanti, to spread organs, but to talk about the mental health. Thank you so much to DPS Bhopal to organize such type of webinar, even the Prerna. Because there's a special different things about segments of DPS. And I would like to say to all of you people who are listening me, or can say what, who can also like spread the information about this, that main objective or purpose of life is to be happy. And I always says to everyone, students से लेके शुरू करते हुए सब लोगों को मैं वही बताता हूँ that we should be happy every time. So हमारी लाइफ का पर्पस क्या है? ज्यादा पढ़ो, ज्यादा पैसे कमाओ, या फिर कुछ भी करो, but that is all to be happy. So happiness is more important when you do anything. जब भी आप कुछ करते हो तब ये बहुत जरूरी है. So yeah, please try to connect the people. लोगों के साथ connect रहिए, खुश रहिए, that is more important. And ऐसी कभी भी कुछ भी difficulties if you are facing, so it's all fine to talk about that. उसके लिए कोई experts को जाके मिलिए, कोई किसी भी मतलब ऐसे mental health professionals है, या फिर एटलीस्ट आपके फ्रेंड्स को या आपके रिलेटिव्स के थ्रू भी हेल्प लेने के लिए ट्राई कीजिए. So that is about from my side. Thank you so much to you everyone again. Thank you.